Volvo power. How's it going, people? So a customer brought me a Volvo. Has a really bad oil leak on the driver's side. I will show you in a minute. So this part, I don't know the proper name for it, but it's a oil catcher, air oil separator, and this thing has like a, I wouldn't say it's motor, there's no electrical plugs for anything. So this thing actually separates crankcase vent, goes in on the top, and then separates the air and oil, and then air comes out and oil's coming back. So I believe I found the oil leak, so that's what happened. It broke this gasket, O-ring, whatever you want to call it. It got busted, and let me install it back on. So when it comes back, this thing's full of oil still. Yeah. So the oil runs back in a crankcase, and this thing was cracked, and that's where the oil was coming from. So he actually brought me, when he bought this truck, this thing came with a used, let's call that blow-by tank. I don't know what the proper name once again on it. So he brought me a used one. When he bought a truck, the guy, for some reason, gave him that. So I put the one he brought it to me, used one, and new O-ring, well, that gasket. And I ended up putting a brand new pipe on it. I will explain to you why I put a brand new pipe on it. So I called a couple junkyards and asked him, do you guys have this pipe? He says, yeah, we do, but good luck to take it off because they usually break. So this thing is really brittle. I mean, I bet if I push on it, it will crack. So I ended up buying a new one. It's $160 for this pipe from a dealer, obviously dealer item only. So we put that in. And there's a little trick. That's why I'm recording this video. So it holds down by 4 bolts, 2 long ones on the top, 2 short ones on the bottom. Your alternator, your AC compressors on the bottom. So for you to take that can off, you have to take the belt off. Take the belt off the side, and there's 1 bolt, 2nd bolt, and it's 2 more on the bottom. You have to unbolt it and move the AC pump out of the way. You don't have to drain the Freon out of it or anything. The reason why, because this line right here, see, crap. Let me move that aside. Right there, right behind this line, there's a bolt and another one on the bottom. So it's impossible to get in to those bolts till you not move this line out of the way. So Volvo, it's not my favorite truck to work on it because things like that, like you're trying to get into one part, but you have to take 3 other ones. So you have to move the AC compressor off. And I start making research on it. This canisters, air oil separators, they hardly ever go bad. Usually the O-ring in the back side of it gets dry rotted, and it will crack, and then looks like you will have oil coming out of the blow-by tube, which is this thing, but it will run down the side of the block and it will splatter all over, and then the whole entire truck gets coated with oil. So if you bring it to the dealer and they will tell you you need a new oil can air separator, the only one way to, much as I understand, to check if it is failed. So there's a wheel, and if they take it off and they tell you got to buy a new one, I want to inspect that wheel. So if the wheel's not turning, obviously you got to buy a new one. I think when a crankcase pressure goes in, it spins that wheel and splatters the oil all over, and then air coming out of here. I don't know exactly the term how it works, but that's my understanding on it. So if you do bring it to the dealer once again and they tell you you have to change it, tell them to show you your old part, and if that wheel is locked up or something happens to it, then I can see. But otherwise, there's really not much to it. There's a little valve inside, and since the oil drops down, then grabs it back on, I don't think they need to be changed. I do not have a part number for it. I don't have a part number for that plastic tube. But what I'm gonna do, if one customer gets this truck, if he doesn't want this back, for the curiosity, I would like to take it apart and see exactly what's inside. And I promise I will record the video on it and show you Maybe it is something needs to be cleaned. Maybe there's a valve inside gets stuck, but so far by looking on it, the only thing I can see is that wheel. If it doesn't spin, then it's obviously, it will not do its job properly. But in this scenario, most likely it's because the rubber gasket got cracked, and that's what it looked like, it was leaking oil. But if you do, once again, if you end up doing this job, go buy this tube. It's 160 bucks, 165 bucks, I'm not sure, because they like to crack. All right, that's all what I got. Thanks for watching all.